This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Look, man, I get that the Tua hate is rising. The Tua doubt is rising. I give him zero breaks. He sucked the last 2 weeks. It was a choking dog performance the last 2 weeks. There's nothing else that I can phrase it at. It's a terrible slump, and he's got to figure it out. And I believe he will, by the way. I really believe he will. I honestly believe he will. I think what I've seen the last 2 weeks is more of an aberration. And one of the things that why I expect Tua and McDaniel to bounce back, I think McDaniel got a little too cocky the last couple of weeks, and especially this past week where he did not dial it down and kept dialing it up and taking too many deep shots. I think McDaniel will be smart enough to start to have a little bit more options in this offense. Tua has already taught us that he is willing to slide, willing to throw the ball away, which again, if there was one bright spot in that Chargers game for Tua, and it's the only bright spot for Tua in that game, because there's no other. I mean, yeah, he hit Tyreek on one of the bombs, whatever, and all that. But really, I was more impressed with him sliding. I was more impressed with him throwing the ball away than even that pass, because I know he can hit that pass all the time. What I know for sure is that the guy I saw the last 2 weeks, that's not normally him. And then what I saw from McDaniel on Sunday night, that's not normally him. So I expect him to adjust. I expect him to get others involved. The running game, while you could have used it a little more last week, I don't know if it makes a difference in the end or not. You still were going to have to complete passes, and the passing game was off. This week against Buffalo, I don't expect the running game to be your savior. I expect the passing game to be your savior. But I expect a much better Tua. Look, man, Tua's fought through hip surgery, ankle surgeries. He's fought through Nick Saban, and he's fought through 2 years of flow. I have more than enough proof that this kid is mentally tough. Tough as nails. He is, fearless. I have no concerns whatsoever that he's going to bounce back. I really feel good about that this week. I really feel now. I'm not telling you that they're going to win, because this is one hell of a game, but I'm expecting a great performance from Tua. Because if you're going to be a franchise quarterback, this is the week that you need to come up with one hell of a performance where you don't leave any doubt that if you lost the game, it had nothing to do with your quarterback. Something didn't bounce your way, the defense gave up something, somebody made a mistake, something along those lines. But this is the week that Tua has to take responsibility and say, I cannot be the weakest link. Like that show, You Are the Weakest Link. And the last 2 weeks, Tua was the weakest link. And that's not normally him. Normally, he is one of the strongest links on the team. I don't expect this to continue. This has not been his MO throughout his career. His MO is to fight and to perform at a high level in big moments. Doesn't get any bigger than this. And it's not going to be easy. This is the Buffalo Bills. This is one hell of a team. They've owned this division now for several years. They've owned the Dolphins for several years. Plus, the Dolphins already beat them this year, finally, for the first time in Tua's career. So they're going to want revenge for that, too. And they're going to want to seal the division, because a win against the Dolphins, it's over. There's no shot at Miami catching the Bills anymore at that point. Miami wins, And all of a sudden now you put yourself in striking distance if Buffalo ends up slipping up again over the next couple of weeks, and you can continue to run the table. That's, we're getting ahead of ourselves at this moment. But what I'm saying is, as much as I'm disappointed in Tua, as much as I know that he choked like a dog in the last 2 weeks and he played like dog shit, okay? It's not because he's afraid of the moment. It's not because he's not ready for the moment. He played bad. And that's it. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to. Until I see this, like I told you last week before this past game. If I see it for several games, then I'm going to be concerned. I'm not going to lose my shit for 2 games and say, oh, no, that's it. Tua doesn't have it. Mike McDaniel's not the coach. I'm not going there. I am pissed that Tua didn't show up the last 2 weeks. Extremely pissed and disappointed at Tua that he didn't show up the last 2 weeks when they were both winnable games. And this past week, it wasn't just Tua. The coach didn't help Tua. The receivers failed themselves too at the same time. Defense did enough to win. Defense did enough to win the week before against San Francisco. I can't ask any more from this defense. I think they're doing a more than good enough right now for you to win these games. This is all on the offense. This is all on McDaniel. This is all on Tua and the receivers. Some of the shit that Tyreek pulled, even though he scored the 2 touchdowns, some of the other stuff, he's got to correct. The stuff, if he did lose that ball in the lights, can you really blame a player for losing a ball in the lights? That's just kind of one of those weird things that happens in a stadium, and you can't control that. Sun getting in a outfielder's eyes, and sometimes it can affect things like that happen. And I can't necessarily blame the player, but he did drop another ball. Waddle also made a mistake. You've got to be better. You've got to be better. And I'm expecting them to be better. So, yeah, you can be pissed. I know I am about the performance the last 2 weeks, but I'm expecting a lot better. All right, let's...
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.